Good morning, brethren. Again, it's good to be with you, and I've really enjoyed the talks that you guys have put forward this week. Something I thought I'd share with you this week is the belt system that they use in jiu-jitsu. So in jiu-jitsu, there's white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt, and there's actually a red belt that essentially no one achieves. So if you guys want to get a white belt in jiu-jitsu, all you have to actually do is go sign up for a class. You don't even have to attend the class. They'll give you your white belt, and then you can tell everyone that you have a white belt in jiu-jitsu. So that's the white belt. It's like the beginner belt. Blue belt. In order to get your blue belt, what you have to do is you have to do, there's about 50 different moves that you learn, and so you have to learn those moves and prove your competence. So you do an exam where there's an instructor that watches, and you have to demonstrate that you know how to do these different techniques. And then at the end of the exam, then you grapple with different people and you demonstrate that you can use those techniques in live grappling situations. Purple belt comes after blue belt, and purple belt is like using those same moves as well as a few refinements and using them in combination. So the definition of a purple belt is they say someone with a purple belt is very hard to hold down. So it's very much focusing on escapes. And so as a purple belt, you should be able to, well, when you grapple black belts even, you should be able to escape most of the positions, and you should very rarely get tapped out as a purple belt. Brown belt, one definition I heard of the brown belt is they're like the gym bully. So they haven't matured to the black belt where they are as interested in helping people and teaching and instructing, but they're black belt caliber, and they're still very much interested in refining their techniques and in practice being very aggressive and tapping people out. Anyway, I thought it was interesting. I was reading a black belt definition last night, and here's what it says. It says the jiu-jitsu black belt is truly a master grappler. He is a person who knows far more about his body, his mind, and his limitations than the average individual. He is humble, friendly, and respectful of others. He is highly efficient and dangerous martial artist, but uses his skills and abilities to defend and help those less capable than him. The black belt starts to look at everything with a fresh set of eyes. He can take the most basic movement that he has practiced thousands of times and realize that he is still able to refine it. A black belt moves with an economy of motion and grace. More importantly, he knows when to move and when not to move. His jiu-jitsu is not only effective, but it also looks good. Some suggested goals of black belt. And it says, understand that the journey is not over. Remain humble, continue to learn and grow. So a couple interesting things I was kind of reflecting on the belt system within jiu-jitsu. And one is that a lot of people achieve their blue belt, they do the examination, and then they never come back to jiu-jitsu again. So they've kind of checked off a self-defense box or the jiu-jitsu box. They see themselves as being proficient, and then they kind of end it at that. And it reminded me of something I read in a book the other day, and I'll share this with you. So Dr. Daniel Peterson says, Stanley Kimball, spoke of 3 levels of Mormon history. Level A, he said, is the Sunday school version. Everything on level A is obviously good and true and harmonious. Level B, however, is the anti-Mormon version of the same story. On this level, everything that you thought was good and true and harmonious actually turns out to be evil and false and chaotic. He noted that the church typically seeks to keep its members on level A, or at least feels no institutional obligation to bring them to a deeper level. Why? Because souls are lost on level B. And though level C might be academically more desirable, it cannot be accessed without at least some exposure to level B. Were he in a leadership position, he said, he would probably make the same decision. Once members of the church have been exposed to level B, though, he said, their only hope is to press on to the richer, more complicated version of history that is found on level C. which he contended, and I agree, turns out to be essentially and profoundly like level A. The only cure for bad historiography is better historiography. The only remedy for bad anti-Mormon arguments is better counter-arguments. Not everybody needs level C, but some do, whether they are troubled by level B or because they find level A insufficiently nourishing in some way. Many good saints will live their entire lives on level A, and they will be saved. So when I read that, I was thinking about the Jiu-Jitsu belt system, and level A is kind of like the blue belt. Like, it's a great place to be. You've learned some very good fundamentals, and those fundamentals can support you through whatever challenges you encounter. But I also like the description of moving through, the progressively harder belts to black belt level, and at black belt level, you can think critically, you're focusing on helping other people, and your position in religion has become very refined. Anyway, I just thought that was a very interesting parallel, the two of those. And I find it a privilege to be able to associate with you, brethren, because I see you all as black belt in the study of religion, and I like having that rub off on me. I also find it kind of interesting to look at other people's skill sets, and I think of Dan Bickman. He's like a black belt in hockey, and Brad Cornish, he's like a black belt golfer. And I don't know, I think it kind of is rewarding to be able to look at some things that you've worked hard at and be able to classify them within the belt system. Anyway, I hope that you guys have found that interesting, and like I said, I listened to what Evan had to say last week, and Mike, and I think, these guys are definitely black belt caliber religious men. And one final note, I think it's interesting to get your purple belt, or sorry, not your purple belt, your red belt. You have to have been practicing as a black belt for 48 years. So you think about that, and you're a really old man when you get a red belt. I think there's 7 red belts in the world right now. And I think about people like, I know David Walters quite well, and in my mind, David Walters is he's like a red belt religiously, and it's something that's definitely worth aspiring to. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great week. I'll talk to you later.